In the name of Allah, the Lord of the Mercy, the giver of the mercy, praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the world, the Lord of the mercy, the giver of the mercy, master of day of judgment. It is you we worship, it is you we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those we have blessed, those who anchor no anger, and those who have not gone astray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of the leaders and the county assemblies for the welfare of the society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to perform important trust in this republic. Let your blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen.
Order number 1, petition.
Honorable members, the office of the clerk has received a petition dated 20th of April 2020 and received the same day, and concerning the second recommendation and approval of the supplementary budget by Mandera County Assembly. So, as per our standing orders, I commit the same to the Committee of Budget and Appropriation to look at the petition. Thank you.
Order number 2, motion, chairperson, lands, housing, and physical planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to move the motion that this House adopts the report of Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning Committee on Elwaq Municipality Charter 2020. Report of Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning Committee on the Elwaq Municipal Charter 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning Committee and pursuant to Standing Order number 193.5, it is my duty and pleasure to present to the Assembly the Committee's report on Elwaq Municipal Charter. This is one of the sectoral committee established under the Standing Order 193.5. Among its functions are to study the programs and political objectives of the department and the effectiveness of the implementation, make reports and recommendations to the County Assembly as often as possible, including recommendation of proposed legislation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the legislative authority of a county is vested in and exercised by its County Assembly as provided for in Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010. A County Assembly may make any laws that are necessary for or incidental to the effective performance of the function and exercise of the powers of the county government under the 4th schedule. Committee's mandate. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Sectoral Committee of Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning derives its mandate from provision of Standing Order 193.5. The function of the committee are as follows: A, to investigate, inquire into, and report on all matters relating to the mandate, management activities, administration, operations, and estimates of the assigned departments. To study the programs and policy objectives of department and the effectiveness of their implementation. To study and review all legislation referred to it. To study, assess, and analyze the relative success of the department, measured by the results obtained as compared with their stated objectives. To investigate and inquire into all matters relating to the assigned department as may be deemed necessary and as may be referred to it by the County Assembly. To vet and report on all appointments where the Constitution or any law requires the County Assembly to approve, except those under Standing Order 188 Committee on Appointments, and to make reports and recommendation to the Assembly as often as possible, including recommendation of the proposed legislation. The committee comprised of the following are the members of the committee as constituted by the House: Honorable Halima Bilaw Umar, Honorable Hindia Hussein Ibrahim, Honorable Adam Maal Abdullah, Honorable Abbas Abdullah Muhammad, Honorable Abdinur Diisow Teno, Honorable Adam Maal Muhammad, Honorable Abdi Adan Ali, Honorable Amran Adan Abdirahman, Honorable Nasra Noor. Acknowledgement, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee wishes to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk to the Assembly for supporting the committee in carrying out its mandate. I would like to also thank the honorable members for their cooperation, teamwork, and commitment in coming up with this report. Further, the committee acknowledged the exemplary services rendered by staff attached to it. I wish to confirm that the recommendation of the committee in these reports were unanimously adopted. It is therefore my pleasant duty and privilege on behalf of Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning Committee to present the committee's report on the Elwaq Municipal Charter for approval by the Assembly. Ownership of the report. We, the members of Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning Committee, do append our signatures against our names to this report to affirm the correctness of the content and support for the report. Background. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Committee on Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning is one of the sectoral committees established under Standing Order 193-1 and deals with all matters relating to lands as set out under the 4th Schedule Part 2 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. On 13th November 2019, the Elwaq Municipal Charter was tabled in the County Assembly and was committed to the committee. The committee was therefore required to conduct public participation pursuant to Article 196 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and table a report on the same pursuant to Standing Order number 193-5G. In compliance with Article 196(1)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, section of 87 of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Order number 1233. The committee placed an advert in the dailies inviting members of the public for public hearing as per the schedule below. Elwaq Town, Elwaq South, the ward was Elwaq South. Venue was Elwaq South Hall, 25th November 2019 at 10 a.m. Bula Afia, Elwaq North, Elwaq Polytechnic, 26th November, 10 a.m. View of the public during the public participation, Mr. Speaker, the members can go through it. The objectives of the Elwaq Municipal Charter includes a provision of efficient and accountable management of affairs of the municipality, B, provision of good governance mechanism that will enable the residents of the municipality to participate in determining the social services and regulatory framework that will satisfy their needs and expectations. 2, verify whether public resources and authority are utilized or excised, as the case may be, to their satisfaction. 3, enjoy efficiency in service delivery. C, vigorously pursue the developmental opportunities which are available in the municipality and to institute such measures as are necessary for achieving public order and the provisions of civic amenities so as to enhance the quality of life of inhabitants of the municipality. D, provision of a high standard of social services in a cost-effective manner to the inhabitants of the municipality. E, promoting social cohesiveness and a sense of civic duty and responsibility among the inhabitants and stakeholders in the municipality in order to facilitate collective action and commitment towards achieving the goal of a harmonious and stable community, stable community. F, provision of services, laws, and other matters for municipality benefit. G, fostering the economic, social, and environmental well-being of its community. The legal framework. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, in the current Kenyan Constitution, Schedule 4, Part 2, Land, Urban Planning, and Housing is listed as one of the devolved functions. This includes county planning and development, including statistics, land survey and mapping, boundaries and fencing, housing, electricity and gas reticulation, and energy regulation fall under the purview of the committee. The Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011. The Urban Areas and Cities Act, Section 9(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act provides that the county governor may, on the resolution of the county assembly, confer the status of a municipality on a town that meets the criteria set out in subsection 3 by grant of a charter in the prescribed form. 2, the procedure set out under section 8(1) to 4 shall apply with necessary modification to the conferment of municipal status to a town, except that the conferment shall be done by the county governor. In this regards, the CEC for Lands submitted resolution of interim Elwak Town Committee requesting for conferment of municipal status as well as application for conferment of municipal status. Copy is annexed. The Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, pursuant to Section 4A of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019 on delineation of boundaries. The committee noted that the process was taken over by the National Ministry, Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, with preliminary county assessment report in place where 968 areas in 45 counties, Nairobi and Mombasa counties excluded, were identified on 16th April 2020. The ministry placed an advert on the dailies calling for the consultancy service on marking of digital boundaries. Hence, this provision is taken care of at national level. The copy is also annexed, Mr. Speaker. The County Government Act 2012, pursuant to Section 104 of the County Government Act 2012, a county government has an obligation to plan for the county, and no public funds shall be appropriated outside a planning framework developed by the County Executive Committee and approved by the County Assembly. Such county planning should integrate economic, physical, social, environmental, and spatial planning. Further, the Act provides that the county government shall designate county department, cities and urban areas, sub-counties, and wards as planned authorities of the county. Section 111 of the County Government Act also requires that each city or municipality should have the following plans: city or municipal land use plan, 2, city or municipal building and zoning plans, city or urban area building and zoning plans, location of recreational areas and public facilities. Hence, the above plans cannot be achieved without the conferment of the status of Elwaq town to that of a municipality. Proposed amendment. The committee proposed that Charter number 17(6) be amended by deleting at least one sitting in every month, but unless for special reason, not more than 3 sittings in a month, which includes committee meetings. And substitute with it is sitting to transact the business of the board once every 3 months, and Charter number 34D by deleting completely the county governor or. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee observed that 1, the charter provides that the boundaries of the Elwaq municipality will constitute Elwaq North and Elwaq Southward as demarcated by IBC. 2, Elwaq town is faced with perennial challenge of stormwater drainage system and floods in 2018. The town was submerged with flood, forcing the county assembly to pass resolution urging the county executive to put in place urgent measures to mitigate the effect of the rainfall through the construction of proper drainage system. The conferment of municipality status to Elwaq will address the issue as it is set to the benefit from the donor fund. 3, the department complied on the requirements section 8 and 9 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011. 4, as required in first schedule of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, Elwaq town has met the population requirement according to the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics Census 2019. 5, the charter is largely compliant with the national legislation, county legislation, and any other written relevant laws. 6, on the criteria of conferment of municipality status, the committee noted that A, the county is in the progress of putting in place Elwaq Integrated Development Plan. B, Elwaq town has sufficient space for expansion as required by law. C, Elwaq has a capacity to effectively and efficiently deliver essential services to its citizens as provided for in the 4th schedule of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. D, Elwaq has infrastructural facilities including but not limited to street lighting and markets. E, it has capacity for functional and effective waste disposal. F, it has demonstrable revenue collection or revenue collections potential. G, it has demonstrable capacity to generate sufficient revenue to sustain its operations. H, the proposed Elwaq municipality has a fast-growing population. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommended the following: that the County Assembly, pursuant to Section 9(1), the Urban Areas and Cities Act, approve the conferment of the status of municipality to the proposed Elwaq municipality. That the County Assembly approves the granting of the charter as amended. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like the member for Elwaq, I don't know whether he's around, the member for Elwaq South to second. Thank you.
Okay. I propose the question that this House adopts the reports of Lands, Housing, Physical Planning Committee on Elwaq Municipality Charter. Honorable Tena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is true, I am Honorable Teno, member representing Elwaq South. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to thank immensely the Committee of Lands, Physical and Planning, where I happen to be also the member, for coming up with such an inclusive report pertaining to this issue at hand. Mr. Speaker, the municipality of Elwaq was first brought to this house November last year, and it was with us quite for a couple of months now. Mr. Speaker, it is new. It is not new to us, as we have perused through the all and find out that compliance is watertight. Mr. Speaker, as we have already said in our report, it was 2018 May, I personally sponsored a motion which seeks to address these problems which we are now mentioning here, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, Mr. Speaker, that motion has not been implemented by the executive owing to the immense resource that it required. Mr. Speaker, we are lucky now with this conferment of municipal status that motion can be implemented and the people of Elwak can be relieved, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the compliance issue, there are parameters and indicators as a committee that we have gone through and confirmed that Elwak, yes, has really qualifies for the status. For example, Mr. Speaker, as per the section 9.2 of cities and urban, the requirement mentioned here one is demonstrable revenue collection or revenue potential. Mr. Speaker, naturally, Elwak has got what is called limestone, Mr. Speaker. Lime in terms of the topography of the soil and stone in terms of what is found underneath, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Elwak has got untapped natural resources like gypsum, Mr. Speaker, and ingredients of cement, Mr. Speaker. With such confinement and of course with the donors' contribution, Mr. Speaker, Elwak are going to attract a lot of donors which may set up industries in places that will going to ease the problem of Elwak, thus increasing also the chances of employment for the youth of Elwak, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the same chapter talks about the capacity to effectively and efficiently deliver essential services to its residents. Mr. Speaker, on this also, Elwak being the most growing town, it has got a huge population which relies on fresh water that was recently piped from Falama to Elwak, Mr. Speaker. And with such services in place, Elwak people are also potential and they can form what is called a WASCO in management of that water, and it will generate its own revenue, and as well it can serve it can render essential services, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, above all, the charter talks about population. For a qualification of a town to be municipality, it talks about population. Mr. Speaker, recently 2019 census conducted has revealed the stamina of Elwak in terms of population, Mr. Speaker. Elwak South alone, Mr. Speaker, where I represent, has got a whooping population of 63,000, and Elwak North has got a population of over 23,000, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the requirement is 70,000, and Elwak have surpassed the requirement over and over, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the same charter requires for a town to be municipality infrastructural facilities, including but not limited to street lighting, markets, and fire station. On this also, Mr. Speaker, Elwak has got a new SME market which was recently built. About street lighting, I can confirm, Mr. Speaker, Elwak has got 413 solar street lighting which are all functioning and working, and the committee can attest to that because it has just gone through the recent budget where it was funded by this government, and sure, yes, it has. Mr. Speaker, on the other one, is about functional, it is about the capacity of the town for future expansion. Mr. Speaker, Elwak has got a huge chunk of land which is unsettled now due to a lot of other problems like planning and all those things. And probably with the confinement of this charter, Elwak can still have more spaces to overgrow it. Mr. Speaker, having said all that pertaining to the charter, I wanted to take this opportunity also to plead with the honorable members of this House You remember recently in the social media, Mr. Speaker, the pathetic situation of Elwak is wanting, and it is at large, Mr. Speaker, meaning it is at the public domain. Mr. Speaker, I wanted these honorable members of this House to put themselves in my shoes as a representative of that area where the situation is very alarming, and we also chip in as a people representative, Mr. Speaker, to come to the aid of Elwak people at this juncture when this service is much required. Mr. Speaker, last but not least, I'll also take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the Governor for having such a good heart for the people of Elwak by initiating these processes, by confirming it is compliance and bringing it to the House. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I stand to support it, and I also plead with the members to support it. Thank you.
Honorable Sokare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to thank the committee as a whole, Mr. Speaker, for coming up with this report. Mr. Speaker, Elwak Municipal Charter is a relief to the people of Elwak. Mr. Speaker, Elwak is an old town that is known to everyone. Despite that, Mr. Speaker, Elwak town faced numerous challenges, Mr. Speaker, of storm water drainage system, especially during rainy season, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when it rains, Mr. Speaker, the whole town is submerged with flood, and that makes people, goods and services to come to stand still, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the way Honorable Teno has raised, recently there was a clip that was going on social media of mothers who are pleading to the government for support, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this problem have been existing for long, Mr. Speaker. And it is our prayer that this report will now allow proper planning for Elwak town, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Elwak has sufficient space for expansion, and its population can sufficiently generate revenue at their own, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, Mr. Speaker, Elwak town has majority of the learned youth who are without jobs, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, this municipal charter will give them that opportunity to secure jobs at their doorstep. With that few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I urge honorable members also to support. Thank you.
Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, this chat about Elwak municipality has come at the right time. We know Elwak very well. It is one of the big towns in Mandera. And historically, it is well established. It has a good border with Somalia. It has got all the expansion capability to expand. It has a very good health services. Elwak can generate a lot of revenue concerning issue of a municipality. And it will be able to sustain itself at long last because of the resources which are already packed in the land. I therefore stand to support the issue of municipality for Elwak. Thank you.
Honorable Alur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the charter, the committee report as it is. Mr. Speaker, Elwak is the second oldest town, if not the oldest town in Mandera County. The town has various infrastructure, as earlier stated by Honorable Teno of Elwak South. It has enough natural resources that are untapped, like gypsum, limestone, quarries to generate stones and gravels. Mr. Speaker, by virtue of its situation, where it is situated, Elwak town is an economic hub and a gateway to business across border to Elwak, Somalia, to Moyale. Mr. Speaker, by virtue of now promoting the status of this town, will be eligible for donor funding and even further infrastructure development that will create better service delivery and ensure that the aspect of water logging in Elwak town is addressed. Mr. Speaker, Elwak, if you look at the altitudinal level, it is 381 meters above sea level, and is a low-lying land surrounded by Wargadud, Shemper Fatuma, Kutulo, which is at 700 meters above sea level, meaning that all the water flows to Elwak town. And at times of rain, clearly that town is waterlogged, and by virtue of poor planning, that town is waterlogged. All the outlets, the natural outlets that God has created has been blocked, and that town needs to be replanted and opened up, ensure that at least those natural drainage system or sewerage system is opened up. Mr. Speaker, this will also ensure that water is not polluted, because by virtue of having a municipality, there will be sewerage system to ensure that there's proper drainage out and those boreholes are not polluted. Mr. Speaker, beside that, Elwak town now is a municipality. We know Kutulo has been upgraded to a sub-county level. We have Wargadud and Shimber Fatuma ward, which are also left out. Hope so. This will also be opened up, ensuring that Wargadud will be a sub-county on its own, and the Shimber Fatuma will also be upgraded. So this is going to be a gateway and opening of upgrading other centers. With those few remarks, I say thank you, and we also request, as a Southerner and the chairman of all the political leaders in Mandera South, I request honorable members to support. Thank you.
Honorable Kula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Kula Aliyo, the honorable member elected from Ramu. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the creation of the charter for Elwak with the strongest term possible, Mr. Speaker. Not because I come from Elwak, Mr. Speaker, but I feel what the Southerners, as the honorable member for Alur, is undergoing today in this house. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are elected and we are supposed to deliver services to our electorate. And by passing this charter, Mr. Speaker, it is one of the ways of delivering services to the people of Mandera County, and we stand to be counted. Mr. Speaker, if I just take you through a bit of history in terms of how these municipalities came, in Kenya from 1902, it used to have local authorities, and it used to have 175 local authorities in Kenya. We used to have that number, Mr. Speaker. And during that time, Mr. Speaker, it used to be divided into 4 categories. I think you are a master on this, Mr. Speaker, because you have been working in the local authorities. And I also worked in the Municipal Council of Mombasa for over 20 years, Mr. Speaker, sir. I know what it means. Mr. Speaker, they used to be called the City Council, Municipal Council, County Council, and Town Council, Mr. Speaker. But after the advent of the 2010 Constitution, Mr. Speaker, sir, there came the 2011 Urban Areas and Cities Act, which was revised in 2012 and amended again on 12th March of 2019, Mr. Speaker, sir. This created a city, a municipality. It also created a town center. It also created a market center, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that during the first assembly in this House, there was a bill that was passed, which was called Town Administration Act of 2014, which created the employment of town administrators, Mr. Speaker. But what the implementers of that bill did not do was the subsequent creation of the committees that normally go with that town administrator. Because wherever there is a town administrator, he must have a town committee. And that has never been created up to today, Mr. Speaker, sir. And if you look at this chain of command, Mr. Speaker, sir, there must be a market center which has a population of 2,000, a town center which has a population of 10,000, a municipality with a population of 50,000, and a city which has a population of 250,000. Among other criteria, any center or town or a municipality that meets a threshold of this population has to be conferred that status. What does that mean, Mr. Speaker? There are many things that come with conferment of the status, Mr. Speaker, sir, and among them is the grants that normally come with it. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are losing on this. As a chairman for public service, before the amendment, I can confirm that we hurriedly passed the Mandera East municipality, and it has a lot of gaps, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I request the chair lady for lands to expedite the amendments to that charter, Mr. Speaker, sir, because the timeline we had was very short, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, the conferment of this city status comes with a lot of benefits, Mr. Speaker, sir. And among them will be Elwak will be an autonomous town if this charter is going to be passed, because it is going to control most of its service delivery. Two, Mr. Speaker, sir, it will have a board of management, Mr. Speaker, sir, that is going to manage the affairs of the people of Elwak. They will not going to refer to the county government most of the work that it is going to do. Mr. Speaker, sir, according to this Amendment Act, a city is supposed to offer 49 services. Municipality is supposed to offer 42 services, Mr. Speaker, sir. And a town center is supposed to have 22, and a market center is supposed to have 14 services. As long as a town meets this requirement of offering these services, then it has the right to be conferred this status, Mr. Speaker. And the people of Elwak, Mr. Speaker, sir, will have an access to increased service delivery, because it is going to receive grants and it is going to receive its own allocation from the county government of Mandera, things which never used to happen, Mr. Speaker, sir. And the youth of Mandera County, and by extension the people of Mandera, the Elwak municipality, is going to get jobs. And a lot of jobs will be created for the women, for the youth, and the people with disabilities in that municipality, Mr. Speaker, sir. And this, as leaders, is something that we are going to be proud of. It's going to have its own, again, bylaws, Mr. Speaker, sir, that it is going to have an impact on them, Mr. Speaker, sir. The only problem I have, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Kula, you fast track, eh?
Okay. Mr. Speaker, sir, with that, then I support the municipality creation. Thank you.
Honorable Warrior, let's have a brief.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah,
Mr. Speaker, I will not say much. I'll be very brief. I know Honorable Kula have taken so long to explain it. We really appreciate. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Almighty Allah for making sure that you know this issue has caught the attention of the governor. And also I want to thank the governor for bringing this noble idea. I also want to thank the able committee chaired by the able chair lady for accepting the proposal of His Excellency the Governor. Mr. Speaker, I think members from Mandera South have something to say to that population because they have something to take back home after 5 years. As we do well understand why I really stood up. I know when the municipality come, the issue of town administration may not be there. I want to be on record to say, say a request to His Excellency that the current town administrator will not be rendered jobless because the municipality is now being brought in place. I want this to be heard loud and clear that he will be the appointed municipality manager. Thank you.
Honorable Shaban.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the municipality charter. Elwak being one of the oldest towns in Mandera County, and this charter is long overdue. Elwak is prone to floods. Last year, during long rains, I was there. The whole town was submerged in water, posing health hazard to members of public. Because of soil topography, there's a poor drainage system. I think with municipality, it has some goodies, especially the stormwater drainage will be improved. It will going to create jobs for youth who are unemployed. There will be improvement in terms of accessibility. If you go deep interior into the town, you can even park your car and walk to your residence. There was no access road. With those few remarks, I stand to support the charter. Thank you.
Chair Lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members, for supporting the report. Mr. Speaker, I don't have any other thing to say. You kindly put the question.
Thank you. Just want to make some clarification on Mandera Municipality Charter is already before the committee, Honorable Kula, for amendment. So I think the committee is working on it. On the issue of employment and who's to be employed, I think that will leave it to the Public Service Board. It's not for this house to debate. But I'm sure Mheshimiwa Wario has said it loud and clear that he wants somebody to be assisted. I put a question that this house adopts the report of budget, the report of lands, housing, and fiscal planning committee on Elwak Charter. As many of these opinions say aye. As many of contrary opinions say nay, the ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 3, motion by Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation.
Honorable Abdullahi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Abdullahi from representing Lafay Ward and Vice Chair Budget and Appropriations Committee. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move a motion that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriations Committee on Mandera County Government Third Supplementary Budget Financial Year 2019-2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the third revision of Mandera County Appropriation Act 2019. The first revised budget was approved on 23rd October 2019, which was necessitated by delayed approval of the County Allocation of Revenue Act 2019 by National Assembly and subsequent concurrence by the Senate. And second one was approved on 17th March 2020 and was necessitated by Presidential Directive on Payment of Pending Bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, the third supplementary estimate of Kenya shillings 280,200,000 was submitted to the County Assembly on 29th April 2020 at 1640 hours following official gazettement of special sittings through Kenya Gazette Notice number 3291. The main objective of this supplementary budget is to attend to the coronavirus pandemic that has hit the globe by storm. Mr. Speaker, sir,
The third supplementary estimate was prepared at a time when the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, has changed the lifestyle of the world. A virus that was first reported in Wuhan state in China has reminded the globe of Spanish flu of 1918 that wiped off 30 million people. According to the World Health Organization, coronavirus is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. Most people infected with the COVID-19 virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. Older people and those with underlying medical problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, and cancer are more likely to develop serious illness. Mr. Speaker, sir, who has recommended various ways to prevent and slow down transmission that includes awareness about the COVID-19 virus, the disease it causes, and how it spreads, to protect oneself and others from infection by washing your hands or using an alcohol-based sanitizers and by not touching the face. The COVID-19 virus spreads primarily through droplets of saliva or discharge from the nose when an infected person coughs or sneezes. So it is important that people also practice respiratory etiquette, for example, by coughing into a flexed elbow. At this time, there are no specific vaccines or treatment for COVID-19. However, there are many other ongoing clinical trials evaluating potential treatments. Mr. Speaker, sir, the first case of coronavirus was reported on 13th March, and since then the country is experiencing majorly mild cases of coronavirus, but has reported 21 who succumbed to the virus to date and 150 recoveries, while the figure of positive cases in the country stand at 411 as at 2nd May 2020. Our county has registered 8 cases to date. The first 2 cases was reported on 6th of April 2020 of the locals who traveled from the coastal region, while the remaining cases are contacts of the first 2 cases. On Friday, 1st May 2020, His Excellency the Governor reported total recovery of 1 person who tested negative twice, and also 2 other cases that tested negative but still isolated for the second test. It is almost important to note that the remaining 5 cases are doing well and full recovery expected, inshallah. Mr. Speaker, sir, the table below shows glaring statistics about the coronavirus pandemic. This is worldwide. It is attached. Mr. Speaker, sir, on 29th of April 2020, the third revised budget estimate was submitted to the County Assembly for consideration, review, and approval in line with the Constitution. The main objective of the revision is to address the coronavirus pandemic through necessary medical supplies and relief food, as the local economies has been negatively affected due to partial lockdown and curfew. Mr. Speaker, sir, under Section 135 of the PFM Act 2012, the county government may spend money that has not been appropriated if the amount appropriated for any purpose under the County Appropriation Act is insufficient or need has arisen for expenditure for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by that act. Or in cases where money has been withdrawn from the county government emergency fund. Extract of the Section 135 of the PFM Act as stated there. Section 39 of the PFM Act also requires that each accounting officer shall, within the guidelines of the supplementary budget circular and in conformity with the budget guidelines issued by the County Executive Committee member, prepare revised budget estimates in the format to be issued by the CEC Finance. 2. Prior to incurring any expenditure under paragraph 1, the accounting officers shall seek approval of the county treasury, and if approval is granted by the County Executive Committee member, it shall be communicated to the accounting officers through a notification, which will be copied to the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget. 3. The purpose of which approval is sought for a supplementary budget shall be A. Unforeseen and unavoidable in circumstances where no budget provision was made, or B. Unavoidable in circumstances where there is an existing budget provision which, however, is inadequate. For the purpose of paragraph 3, the following shall not be considered unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure. Expenditure that, although known when finalizing the estimate of the original budget, could not be accommodated within allocations, and B. Tariff adjustment and price increases. The accounting officers may seek supplementary budget if the expenditure cannot be met by budget reallocation under Section 154 of the Act. The request for supplementary budget in paragraph 5 shall be presented in a format that facilitates comparison with the original budget and shall contain all the information necessary to enable a decision on the application to be reached and shall include the vote, program, sub-program, and broad expenditure category, which it is desired to supplement, the original sum vote therein, and any supplement which may have since been added. B, the actual expenditure and the outstanding liabilities or commitment against the item on the date when the request is made. C, the amount of the supplementary required, the reasons why the supplementary is necessary, and why it has not been possible to keep within the voted provision. D, the basis for the calculation underpinning the supplementary. E, the proposed source of financing of the additional expenditure. F, an analysis of the fiscal impact of the additional expenditure or the implications, if any, for the planned outputs and outcomes of the affected programs. G, any implied deviation from the medium-term expenditure framework and the financial objectives. And lastly, the latest fiscal projections. The county government entity requesting additional funds through a supplementary budget process shall submit a memorandum to the county treasury on a date determined by the county treasury. For avoidance of doubt, budget allocations for new policy options and service delivery initiatives can only be considered when introduced in the annual estimates of the budget in accordance with the procedure and laid down in the Act and these regulations. In approving any estimate under Section 135 and 154 of the Act, that Council Assembly approval shall not exceed 10% of the approved budget estimates of a program of subvote unless it is for an unforeseen and avoidable need as defined in Section 112 of the Act. The County Executive Committee members shall submit a copy of the budget estimates approved with this regulation to the National Treasury. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget and appropriations, this is the mandate of the committee. I think it's clear. The members are also clear, the 13 members. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are grateful to your office and that of the clerk for the support you have accorded to the committee in execution of its mandate in delivery of this report on with such a short period. I also took this opportunity to thank all the honorable members of the committee and the secretariat for their patience and wavering sacrifice and commitment to service of the people that enabled us complete this important task within limited time. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is now my pleasure, duty, and privilege on behalf of the Budget and Appropriations Committee to present to this House the report on Mandera County Government third supplementary estimate for financial year 2019-2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, the table below shows the summary of revenue and the total departmental allocation as approved on 19th July 2019 by Mandera County Assembly and subsequent Appropriation Acts of 2019. The table is attached. There is also the summary of total departmental allocations as approved by County Assembly on 19th July. Table is attached. There is also the summary of revenue as provided for in the first supplementary budget approved by this House on 23rd October 2019. The table is there. Next, the summary total departmental allocation in the first supplementary budget approved by this House on 23rd October 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, the approved departmental summary of second supplementary budget is also there. Mr. Speaker, sir, the following is the proposed changes by the county executive in these supplementary estimates. Ministry of the County Assembly recurrent expenditure approved for financial year 2019, 726,834,897. The supplementary movement is 60 million. The final allocation in the third supplementary is 666,834,897. Ministry of Trade, Industrialization and Cooperative Development, purchase of motor vehicle for Department of Trade, 9.4 million. It has been removed. Basic salary, 30,983,954. It has been reduced by 11,918,329. The final allocation is 19,065,625. Ministry of Finance, basic salary approved for financial year was 109,318,916. It has been reduced by 12 million. The final tally is 97,318,916. Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Irrigation, basic salary approved was 77,455,334. It has been increased by 9,048,797. The final total is 86,504,131. Basic salary under the Ministry of Education and Sports, the first allocation was 179,916,487. It has been reduced by 11 million. The final total is 168,916,487. Office of the Governor and the Deputy Governor, basic salary was 95,397,936. It has been increased by 21,918,329. The final total is 117,316,265. Performance contracting under the Office of the Governor, the initial allocation was 5,100,000. All of it was removed. Devolution conference cost, the initial allocation was 6.8 million. It has been reduced by 4.8 million. The final total is 2 million. Foreign travel under the Office of the Governor, the initial was 7,209,571. It has been reduced by 2 million. The final total is 5,209,571. Annual contribution to the Council of Governors, initial budget was 10,200,000. All of it has been removed. Ministry of Public Service, Cohesion and Integration, over provision for insurance. The initial budget for insurance was 232,600,000. It has been removed by 2.5 million. The final total is 230,100,000. Over provision for pensions, the approved budget was 190,805,693. It has been reduced by 8 million. The final total is 182,805,693. Basic salary and Ministry of Public Service, the initial total was 251,247,537. It has been reduced by 20 million. The final total is 231,247,537. Ministry of Health, basic salary, initial was 847,708,621. It has been reduced by 34,048,797. The final total is 813,659,824. Public health programs, HIV, AIDS, TB, malaria, immunizations. Initial budget was 15.3 million. It has been reduced by 10,200,000. Final total is 5,100,000. The total approved budget for 2019-2020 was 2,794,278,945. Reduction is 170,200,000. The final total is 2,624,078,946. There is also the Ministry of Trade, County Trade Development Fund was 50 million. It has been removed all. And the Ministry of Roads, Transport and Public Works, compilation of governors' residence was 197,917,520. It has been reduced by 40 million. Final total is 157,917,520. Provision for deputy governor's residence. Initial budget was 53 million. Reduction is 20 million. Final is 33 million. The total initial approved is 3,095,196,465. Reduction is 200. Total reduction. Supplementary movement is 280,200,000. Final allocation to the third supplementary is 2,814,996,465. Mr. Speaker, sir, the following is the proposed appropriation by the county executive. All was allocated to recurrent expenditure. Under the water, energy and environment, grant to Mandawasco, 10 million. Finance and economic planning, relief food supply COVID-19 interventions, 120 million. Under health services, supply of COVID-19 related supplies, 150,200,000. The total allocation is 280,200,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, the County Executive Committee member for Finance brought an addendum to the attention of the Budget and Appropriation Committee through Office of the Clerk. The addendum with reference that dated 30th April 2020 detailed changes are shown below. Under Ministry of Education, the current expenditure, Somali Cultural Week, 10 million, it has been totally removed. Under Ministry of Finance, the current expenditure, maintenance of revenue system, 10 million, it has been reduced by 1.5 million. Final total is 8.5 million. Under Office of the Governor, the publication of CIDP, draft and final copies. Initial budget was 4.5 million. It has been reduced by 2.5 million. Final total is 2 million. Under Ministry of Health, Specialized Consultant Services, initial budget was 7,526,400. It has been reduced by 3.7 million. Final tally is 3,826,400. Supplementary movements is 17.7 million. Under Ministry of Finance, Development, Office, Repair, Maintenance, as well as Drainage System as Treasury Compound, the initial budget was 12.2 million. It has been increased by 7,546,216. Final total is 19,746,216. Under Ministry of Education, Development of Bohol 11 Secondary School Playground, there is a new allocation of 3,950,000. Under Ministry of Water, underground water tank at Hopi in Mandera West, a new allocation of 1.8 million. Recurrent under Ministry of Water, grant to Mandawasco. Initially, the budget was 185 million. Increment of 1.5 million. Final total is 186,500,000. Under Ministry of Water Development, construction of 20,000 meter cubic dam at Buladumayo, 10 million removed. Repair of underground water tank at Kalim, new allocation of 1.5 million. Supply of furniture to Karsahama Health Center, new allocation of 1.4 million. Office operation for account payable, initially it was 4 million. There is an increment of 5.8 million. Final total 9.8 million. Office operation for budget department, initial allocation was 4 million, increment of 5 million, final tally is 9 million. Under Ministry of Education, 2 twin toilets at ECD centers in Corner S, Wargadut, 800,000 removed. Under Ministry of Education still, massive repair of ECD classrooms at Duse Primary School, 900,000 removed. Supply of ECD materials to Duse Primary is a new allocation, 900,000. Renovation of Arabia ECD class in Arabia ward, it was 1.2 removed. Supply of ECD material to Arabia ward, 1.2 million, new allocation. Redesigning and expansion of theatre at Lafi Hospital, 7 million removed. Renovation of Lafi Hospital maternity, 3.5 million, new allocation. Renovation of 2-number staff house and electrification of Lafi Sub-County Hospital, new allocation of 3.5 million. Redesigning and expansion of theatre at Banisa Hospital, initial allocation of 7 million removed. Construction of drugstore at Banisa Sub-County Hospital, new allocation of 4 million. Construction of sanitary facility at Banisa Sub-County Hospital, new allocation of 1.5 million. Construction and fencing of placenta pit at Kutayu Health Center, new allocation of 1.5 million. Final supplementary movement of 16,100,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, below is the extract from oral submission when the Budget and Appropriations Committee engaged the CEC member for Finance on the supplementary estimate and the review. In his oral submission, the CEC indicated as follows: on whether or not the proposed line items in the third supplementary budget have been already committed, the CEC responded in affirmative and indicated that 100% of the proposed items in the document have been committed. The CEC cited the ongoing distribution of relief food, especially in Lafe, Mandera South and Kutulo sub-counties, as one example of committal of the proposed funds. He also mentioned Other activities including procurement and supply of medical and non-medical related supplies that are currently ongoing, i.e. supply of masks and hand sanitizers, PPE, beddings, facility improvement works, etc. On the number of quarantine isolation centers in each ward and the budgetary allocation for the same, if any, the CEC indicated that the initial target of Mandera County government wasn't considering ward level in management of the outbreak but sub-counties. The following arrangement was agreed upon with regards to the same. Mandera County Referral Hospital, which is the principal quarantine center to serve Mandera East and Mandera North sub-counties. Elwak Level 4 Hospital to serve Mandera South and Lafey sub-counties. Takaba Hospital to serve Mandera West and Banisa sub-counties. And the Kutulo being an entry point be on its own. That the executive have dedicated 3 specially branded ambulances to aid in transportation of individuals that are symptomatic to the above designated facilities. The major identified designation isolation centers in the county include sub-county headquarters in Elwak, Takaba, Kutulo, and Mandera County Referral Hospital, Rehabilitation Center, Kamor Health Center in Mandera East Sub-County. According to the CEC member, most of the above facilities are new and have infrastructure challenges and as such require various improvement, i.e. water connection, electricity, and other utilities. Mandera East was made to be a principal isolation center due to proper infrastructure. The decision which led to the 2 confirmed cases in Wargudut and Ramu being transferred all the way to Mandera. Mandera East Sub-County has about 178 isolation beds once rehabilitation center and Kamor Health Facility will be operationalized in few days. In other 6 sub-counties, the following centers have been earmarked as quarantine facility: Girissa Health Facility in Mandera North, isolation center, private lodge hired to house healthcare workers. Sub-county headquarters in Takaba serves as isolation center and a small lodge hired to house health workers. Accident and emergency facility, isolation center in Elwak Level 4 Hospital and sub-county headquarters to be a quarantine facility. Sub-county headquarters in Banesa serves an isolation center and a small lodge hired to house health workers. Sub-county headquarters in Kutulo and a small lodge hired to house health workers. Lafey, private school hired as both quarantine center and lodging facility for health workers. The budget line for these quarantine centers have not been broken down. However, procurement of medical and non-medical equipment have been done in bulk and on need basis. On criteria used in identification of quarantine isolation facility in the county, the existing government facilities have been mapped in all the sub-counties in order to avoid other cost implications. However, small lodgings were hired in Mandera North, Kutulo, Mandera West, Banisa to house health workers who will manage the patients. In Levy sub-county, a local school was hired as both isolation center and quarantine center since the health center lacks proper infrastructure. The executive is considering to hire a vehicle for the healthcare workers in Lafey since the identified facility in the outskirts of the town is in the outskirts of the town. Accordingly, the CEC member stated that funds have been committed only in Mandera East where there is a substantial number of confirmed cases. On the criteria used in identification of beneficiaries, the statistics are there. How much each sub-county has received in terms of food ration. There is also the Duxi teachers and ulamas which have been quoted for. There is the IDPs and there is the special category. Mr. Speaker, also there is the food ration to be distributed. Rice 12.5 kg per household, beans 5 kg per household, cooking oil 3 liters per household. The executive also noted the following: the criteria is therefore majorly on poverty index and poverty coping mechanism. 2, the quality of the food being distributed is standard and very good. 3, the food distribution was done through an open tender won in 2019 and based on the framework agreement of 2 years. The supply is therefore as a result of pricing for that open tender. Mr. Speaker, sir, the county assembly's contribution of Kenya shillings 60 million to coronavirus pandemic and further Kenya shillings 18 million additional claimable mileage allocation was saved from the following programs. The savings from the respective votes was necessitated by indefinite closure of the assembly operations and the presidential directive of working from home except for essential service providers. The budget lines: Mandera County Assembly contribution to COVID-19 60 million. Boards, committee sittings and plenary have been reduced by 23 million. Additional claimable mileage for MCS, there is an increase of 18 million. Foreign travel and daily subsistence, there is a reduction of 17.5 million. Daily subsistence allowance and accommodation committee services has been reduced by 12 million. Daily subsistence allowance and accommodation for staff has been reduced by 10 million. Travel costs, these are airlines, bus, railway mileage allowances, has been reduced by 7 million. System required expenses is a new allocation of 2.75 million. Provision for staff promotion reduced by 3 million. Miscellaneous costs reduced by 2,885,000. Purchase of handset equipment, new allocation of 2.3 million. Committee and chamber proceedings to the Public Assembly media management reduced by 2 million. Sanitary materials and programs, new allocation of 2 million. Savings for basic salaries from MCS reduced by 1,985,000. Savings from basic salary for staff reduced by 1,970,000. Contracted staff professional services is a new allocation of 1,980,000. Daily subsistence allowance for security reduced by 1 million. Casual and contractual employees reduced by 1.5 million. Hardship allowance reduced by 700,000. Maintenance of plant, machinery and equipment reduced by 550,000. Maintenance expense for motor vehicles reduced by 500,000. Advertisement on dailies, local shows and FMs reduced by 500,000. House allowance reduced by 500,000. Car hire for committees during public participation reduced by 350,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, the table below shows departmental summary of the movements have been effected. Ministry of Livestock Agriculture, allocation for 2019-2020 budget was a recurrent 279 million. The development 1,055 million. Total departmental allocation is 1,300,000,000. I think the table is clear, Mr. Speaker. Committee observations. 1. The committee observed that the information requested through House resolution on 23rd October 2019 and 17th March 2020 was not submitted to the date on itemized budget for Mandawasco, Mandera Municipality, and grants from donor agencies. 2. That there was no provision of emergency fund as per requirement of Section 110 of PFM Act 2012, despite coronavirus pandemic, invasion of locusts, and many other unexpected emergencies. 3. All the policy recommendations, House resolutions, and directives given by this Honorable House are ignored by the Executive, despite the provision of Section 131A3 of the PFM Act 2012. Policy recommendations by the committee. Number 1, Department of Health shall ensure supplies of face masks, hand sanitizers, and create awareness on coronavirus disease in all the 30 wards. 2, the executive to ensure prudent use of public resources as per provisions of the law. 3, the county treasury to submit all pending information and written memoranda on actions taken on House resolutions as per provision of Section 130A3 of the PFM Act 2012. Committee recommendation. The Budget and Appropriations Committee recommends the House for approval of the Mandera County Third Supplementary Estimates for financial year 2019-2020 with above mentioned amendments as per this committee's report. We, the undersigned, do certify that this is a true report capturing all the deliberations made by the honorable members of the committee during the scrutiny of the third supplementary budget for financial year. That is the signature of the members. There is also the minutes by the cabinet on the approval of the supplementary and the minutes by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request the majority leader to second.
Thank you. I propose question that this House adopt the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on Mandera County Government Third Supplementary Budget Financial Year 2019-2020. Honorable Yaqub.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the recommendation of the Budget and Appropriation Committee, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, sir, that the report is on the appropriation itself is on the COVID-19 supplementary budget, and that, Mr. Speaker, that I'm very happy that, Mr. Speaker, that we donated our allowances, our salaries, totaling to almost 60 million shillings to COVID-19 campaign. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a very good example, and I urge other public, the businessmen, the rich and the mighty, and those who can afford can do the same, because we have led by example by donating. 60 million is not small, and this is just from around 60 staffs plus around 50 to 48 members of the county assemblies. That's a lot of money. If you count, divide by that per person, everybody or every individual who are working in this assembly, whether the staffs or whether the speaker, the clerks, and the members of the county assembly have donated over 500,000 shillings per person, and that's a lot. And I think that's one we have at least led by example. Because this is a personal money, I think those who have been given this money to implement should put this money into proper use, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, secondly, there is a worrying situation here that most of the isolation test centers and the quarantine centers are made up in schools, and the problem is that the executives who are supposed to implement, or the national government, have not, I doubt that they have put any proper place that after the quarantine is over, after the isolation issues are over, how they're going to help, or how they're going to help, Mr. Speaker, to remove the infection from that particular premises, Mr. Speaker, sir, because by putting an infected individual and isolating them in the school, and then many children come back to school in June, Mr. Speaker, sir, we're going to raise a lot of issues, Mr. Speaker, sir. We wanted the ad hoc committee, which is likely to be formed, and which I believe which will going to be passed by this House, to look into those issues specifically, or on post-COVID-19 infections in the school, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the money which was the supplementary budget is for COVID-19, and is around 280 million shillings as brought by the CC for finance. But Mr. Speaker, sir, there is also a second addendum which was brought in. I don't know whether it is related to COVID-19, because I see ECD classes and many other things here. I don't know how it will help in control of the same, Mr. Speaker, sir. So is also, if you look at the main heading of the report, is that the report of the County Assembly Budget and Appropriation Committee on third COVID-19 supplementary budget. This is a very special kind of budget, which is very specific to a very specific item. By bringing other issues here, I think we are again compromising the whole program, Mr. Speaker, sir. The committee to be formed in future should also try to look at this. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, sir, always, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I always say this, during the budget making process, of which this one is also one of them, Mr. Speaker, sir, the general deductions versus what is saved against what is supposed, what's given to the saved money is not very clear in this, Mr. Speaker. It's not very clear in this. In COVID-19, what is stated there is only around 280 million, but the deduction is more than that, Mr. Speaker, sir, and it is always very worrying when we are brought budgets here. The deduction are more, and you don't know where that money is going. With that, Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to support the recommendation of the Budget and the Appropriation Committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to raise to support the report by Budget and Appropriation Committee. Mr. Speaker, I would like to appreciate the committee for presenting a good report. Mr. Speaker, this supplementary has been necessitated by the current emergency we have in the whole world, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like also to thank the Assembly and your leadership for donating 60 million to this fund, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 60 million is not a small amount of money. Mr. Speaker, I would like also to seek your indulgence in terms of the committing of that money in that fund. Mr. Speaker, it should go to the protection of the staff, the health workers who are working under these circumstances, under this environment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will also wish to call upon on the executive that there should be a prudent use of these resources that has been allocated by this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, of concern to me is that in the rural wards where we represent, the people we represent, Mr. Speaker, have no these basic facilities like masks, sanitizers, and hand washing containers, Mr. Speaker. There is no also, it is also worrying that there is no public awareness in the rural areas, Mr. Speaker. I also wish to call upon the executive, Mr. Speaker, to commit part of these funds for awareness and campaign and the procurement of masks, face masks, sanitizers, and hand washing containers, Mr. Speaker, in areas that has not been reached before. Mr. Speaker, this morning when we were contributing to the emergency regulation fund, Mr. Speaker, you are hearing some of the honorable members who have traveled within the county telling us that there are no screening, there are no internal screening from the movement, movement of people from one sub-county to the other. There are also reports, Mr. Speaker, yesterday there were alerts that in Mandera South sub-county, there are people coming from Somalia who have taken their livestock to the Mogadishu market, and since Wajir had sealed its border, Mr. Speaker, they are trying to penetrate the Mandera long porous border so that they can make their way to areas like Butte, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to be, we need to advise the executive that we should be on top of these issues. We need, and we are also getting reports that, Mr. Speaker, people are going to Bulahawa for prayers, and since our mosques are locked, Mr. Mr. Speaker, we need to advise our public and the people we represent that they should be more serious on this matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I support. Thank you.
Honorable Ali Nur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is timely. For sure, it will facilitate major response within the county. Mr. Speaker, I'd like also, first of all, to thank your office for allowing us to have a special sitting to respond to the current situation. This is necessary, and in fact, it is with this flexibility that we are at least able to ensure that we measure the little resources that we have. The aspect of contribution of 60 million by Mandera County Assembly is surely portrays aspect of representation, having the electorates at heart and ensuring alleviating the sufferings that they are facing. Mr. Speaker, I also give hand to other honorable members that have initially said, raised concern about the use of funds. We urge the executive to ensure that there is a prudent use of these resources and ensure that there is a major coverage in terms of awareness creation that acts as a preventive measure, and it is necessary. It is an action of proactiveness, so it is necessary to prevent. As part of information, Mr. Speaker, I got information that those people who came from Mogadishu, in liaison with the health team, response team that are based in Elwak, that 4 persons who traveled from Mogadishu are now arrested in Elwak, Somalia, and through collaboration with the team from Elwak, Kenya, and 4 of them have been arrested currently, and the others are also on their way, and in fact that will giving facilitating this response team will ensure at least that they are all proactiveness in terms of preventing COVID-19 infection. So with those few remarks, I say thank you and ask other honorable members to support. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Shaban, I think let's you summarize. We put it to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some reservations. The emergency COVID-19 emergency fund of 280 million has been exhausted within 3 weeks. It has been committed. Then the funny things, there are frontline health workers who have sacrificed their life and their well-being to take care of these people. Their stipend allowances has not been captured in these 280 million. These guys are demoralized. Some of them are exposed to these infections. The protective gears are not adequate and it's not even ideal. And now we have already exhausted 208 within 3 weeks of the first case we had. So I think it is not good. What the county did, it has violated even the government directive. The government was very clear. They said we don't have resources, we should use the existing government structures. And it has also given directive that every county should identify 3 secondary schools to be used as a quarantines and isolation centers. Well, now the county went ahead and now starting doing renovations at rehabilitation centers. Most of these sub-county administrators, if you put up a new structures or start a new structures, it comes with cost. When the government said we use secondary schools, means the facility is there, the washroom plus the bed plus mattress. The only thing is just their food. But now, if we just convert now sub-county headquarters to isolation ward or quarantine, you need to buy a bed, you need to buy a mattress, you need to set up some things. So if we are not careful with these resources, I'm seeing a scenario whereby we exhaust what we have, the few resources we have, and then when this crisis reach exponential rate, will be we have exhausted everything. If you look at the trend, what is happening in Europe, Italy, Spain, and those things, they had the first case, then after 3 months, there was exponential increase in surge in number of cases. So yet, we don't know, the WHO has also projected that this crisis, pandemic, might even persist up to September or up to October. So if we are not careful with the few resources, we might exhaust everything and go into crisis. Now the county went ahead, yes, went ahead and leased small lodge in every sub-counties. I hope this small lodge should translate to small money when it comes to payment. Now where they have dedicated is small lodge. Then the other thing is there is a reduction of basic salary from Ministry of Health, 34 million, and then Public Service, 20 million. When you deduct basic salary of a staff, does it mean that these guys will be sacked or will go without salary? These are basic salaries, not allowance.
I think they have explained that in the notes. There are people they wanted to recruit, which because of the court order they have not recruited. No, nobody can reduce somebody's salary. So it's not about the current staff.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On issue raised by Honorable Guticha about screening, which is not happening in our country, I think there is a confusion in the departments. The governor formed task forces, which composed of CECs and chief officers to supervise these containment of COVID-19 in sub-counties. When these guys went to the sub-counties, they have started intimidating the healthcare personnel. I want to confirm to this House that we have a robust healthcare personnel in the county, especially sub-counties, health management team, and county sub-county management teams. So it means they are running also a different programs, sub-counties are also different running programs. So I like this opportunity to urge the governor to recall the task forces in the sub-county and give space to sub-county health management team to run this program with enough support. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I say thank you on the issue raised by Honorable Yakub about using of public facilities and the schools are to be opened. Once the pandemic is over, all facilities has to be disinfected so that it is safe to be used by the next person. Thank you very much.
Chair budget. Chair proceed. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank the honorable members for supporting the documents, and I hope when the ad hoc committee is formed, if it is formed, they are going to look at the way these resources are spent and they ensure it is spent in the right way. And I urge you to put the question. Thank you.
Thank you. I put a question that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on Mandera County Government Third Supplementary Budget, Financial Year 2019-2020. As many of that opinion say aye. As many of the opposite opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order. According to my guidelines on the special sitting, now we are supposed to have concluded the business by 4, but we are yet to dispose of some two important motion. I think let's just proceed and we finish.
Order number 4, procedural motion, Honorable Jimale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move procedural motion, aware that Standing Order number 119 requires that money be introduced after the expiry of a publication period of 7 days. Further, aware that the publication period can be reduced with the resolution of the County Assembly. This County Assembly, therefore, resolved to reduce the publication period of the Mandera County Third Supplementary Budget Financial Year 2019-2020 from the 7 days to today, 4th May 2020. Thank you. I request Honorable Majority Leader to second.
Thank you. I propose that this House adopt the procedural motion proposed by Honorable Jimale to reduce the publication period from the mandatory 7 days to 1 day, that is today, 4th May 2020. I put a question that the House agree with Honorable Jumala to reduce the publication days of the bill from 7 days to today, 4th May 2020. As many of these opinions say aye. As many of contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it.
Order number 5, Bill, the Mandera County Government Third Supplementary Budget, Financial Year 2019-2020, second reading. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Mandera County Emergency Fund and Hassan. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that Mandera County Supplementary Third Appropriation Bill for Financial Year 2019-2020 be now read a second time and read the committee report on the bill. Majority Leader to second.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know why every member is asking me to second. But I second, Mr. Speaker, the Chair for Budget, Vice Chair.
I propose that Mandera County Third Supplementary Appropriation Bill Financial Year 2019-2020 being now read second time. Move on to reply.
Question.
I put the question that Mandera County Third Supplementary Appropriation Bill Financial Year 2019-2020 to be now read a second time. As many of these opinions say aye. Aye. As many of contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of the County Assembly of Mandera to authorize the issue of certain sums of money, the county revenue fund and the application towards the service of year ending 30th June 2020 and to appropriate those sums for certain services and purpose.
Next order. Committee of all.
Committee of the whole House.
Members, welcome to the Committee of the Whole House. We are now in Mandera County. Number 3, Bill 2020.
Clause 1, Clause 1, Clause 2, Clause 3, Clause 4, and 5.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that Clause 1 to 4 be part of the bill without.
I now propose that clause 1 to 4 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion. I now put the question that
Clause 1.
clause 1 to 4 be part of the bill. I now, as many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
First schedule. R 324, R 341-01, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the Department of Public Service and devolved unit, including expense on general administration and financial management, services of the county, sub-county administrators and wards. Amount 1,116,183,327.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that Schedule R 34101 be part of the bill without any amendment. I now put the question that Schedule R 34101 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-02, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses for the Department of Finance and Economic Planning. Amount 834,269,859.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes. New amount is 841,069,859.
I now propose that Schedule R 34102 be amended as proposed by the chair.
Now put the question.
I now put the question that Schedule R 34102 be part of the bill
As proposed by the
as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Okay, R 341-03, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the Department of Education, Culture and Sport. Amount 414,665,461.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes. New amount 404,665,461.
I now propose that R 34103 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that R 34103 be part of the bill, be amended by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-04, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the Department of Agriculture, including irrigation, livestock and fisheries. Amount 279,153,965. Appropriation need 23,178,825.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that R
Be part
34105
04.
04
Be part of the bill.
be part of the bill as proposed by the chair.
It's okay.
I now put the question that R 34104
Be part of the
be part of the bill as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-05, the amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the Department of Health Services. Amount 1,845,812,198.
Chair, any amendments?
Yes. New amount is 1,843,512,198.
I now propose that R 34105. I now propose that R 34105 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that R 34105 be amended by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-06, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the County Assembly. Amount 691,834,897.
I now propose that R. Chair, any amendment? Sorry.
No amendment.
I now propose that R 34106 be part of the bill. I now put the question that R 34106 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-07, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the Department of Trade, Investment, Industrialization, and Cooperative Development and Tourism. Amount 50,287,725 in aid 63,202,6369.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that R 34107 be part of the bill. I now put the question that R 34101 be part of the bill. 07. I now put the question that R 34107 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Good. R 341-08, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses for the Department of Lands, Housing and Physical Planning. Amount 286,889,250 in aid 41794,654.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that R 34108 be part of the bill. I now put the question that R 34108 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
R 341-09, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses for the Department of Gender, Youth and Social Service. Amount 83,358,197.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that R 34109 be part of the bill. I now put the question that R 34109 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-10, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport. Amount 110,957,792.
I now propose, Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose R 341-10 be part of the bill. I now put the question R 341-10 be part of the bill. I now put the question that R 341, as many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R 341-11, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the Department of Water, Energy, Environment and Natural Resource. Amount 572,890,176 in aid 7,917,922.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new amount 575,893,960.
I now propose that R 341-11 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that R34111 be part of the bill, be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
R341-12 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the office of the governor and deputy governor, amount 480-208-602. Chair.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new amount 482-374-887.
Repeat.
New amount 482-374-887.
We are in R.
Come on.
I now propose that R34112 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now propose the question that R34112 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
R341-13 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for salaries and expenses of the office of the County Public Service Board, amount 56759-224.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that R34101 I now propose R34113 be part of the bill. I now put the question R341 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Class subtotal 6833-270-673. Supply subtotal 183-559. Appropriation aid subtotal 183-559-629.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new total for supply 6822774-457.
I now propose class subtotal be amended as proposed by the chair.
Yes.
I now put the question that class subtotal be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
Second schedule, development expenditure D341-01, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of public service management and devolved unit, amount 246-297-599.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that D34101 be part of the bill. I now put the question D34101 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
D341-02, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure for the Department of Finance and Economic Planning, amount 405-828-671.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new amount 413-374-887.
I now propose that D34102 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that D34102 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
D341-03, amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of the Department of Education, Culture and Sports, amount 448-994-521.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new figure 452-144-521.
I now propose that D34103 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that D34103 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
D341-04 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of the Department of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, including irrigation, administration, plan, regulatory management. Amount 1055031,660.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that D34104 be part of the bill. I now put the question that D34104 be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
On combined 5 up to 9. So I'll D34105 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of the Department of Health Services. Amount 825218230 D3410-0506 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of County Assembly Services. Amount 268827226 D341-07 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure for the Department of Trade, Investment, Industrialization and Cooperative Development. Amount 232269804 D341-08 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure for the Department of Lands, Housing and Physical Planning. Amount 307742-294 D341-09 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 development expenditure of the Department of Gender, Youth and Social Service. Amount 59848-646 D341-10 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport. Amount 12882386366.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that
Clauses to
34104 05 06 07 08 09 and 010 be part of the bill without any amendment. I now put the question that D34104 5 6 7 8 9 10 be part of the bill without any amendment. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
D341-11 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of the Department of Water, Energy, Environment and Natural Resource. Amount 1,154,745,347.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new amounts 1,146,545,347.
I now propose that D341-11 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that D341-11 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
D341-12 amount required in the year ending 30th June 2020 for development expenditure of the Office of the Governor and Deputy Governor. Nil.
Chair, any amendment?
No amendment.
I now propose that D341-12 be amended, be part of the bill without any amendment. I now put the question that D341-12 be part of the bill without any amendment. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Class subtotal 6293 042 362.
Chair, any amendment?
Yes, new subtotal 6295 538 578.
I now propose that class subtotal be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that class subtotal be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Grand total 13118 313 035. Appropriation in 183 559 629.
Any amendment, Chair?
No amendment.
I now propose that grand subtotal be part of the bill. Grand total. I now put the question that grand total be part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Sergeant Papa, Ashai.
Madam Chair, sir, Madam Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the County Assembly its consideration of the Mandara County Third Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2019-2020 and its approval thereof with amendments.
I will put the question, which is that the committee do report to the County Assembly its consideration of Mandera County Third Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2019-2020 and its approval thereof with amendments. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of that contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Sergeant Batam, usher in the speaker.
Yes, Chair Hall.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House of the County Assembly has considered Mandera County Third Supplementary Appropriation Bill Financial Year 2019-2020 and approved the same with amendments.
Chair. Chair,
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the County Assembly do agree with the committee in the said report.
I propose the question, which is that County Assembly do agree with the committee on the said report. I put the question, which is that the County Assembly do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as of this opinion say aye. Aye. As many of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Chair, budget.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Mandera County Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2020 be now read a third time. Majority Leader.
I propose the question, which is that Mandera County Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2020 be now read third time. I put the question, which is that Mandera County Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2020 be now read the third time. As many of these opinions say aye. Aye. As many of contrary opinions saying nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of the County Assembly of Mandera to authorize the issue of certain sums of money out of the County Revenue Fund and the application towards the service of the year ending 30th June 2020 and to appropriate those sums for certain public service and purpose.
Next order.
Order number 6, motion by Honorable Abdi Adan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move a motion that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 1, I beg to move an establishment of an ad hoc committee on COVID-19. Aware that COVID-19 has been declared a global health pandemic resulting to unprecedented global health threats that claimed many lives worldwide, cognizant that the national and county governments have taken various measures aimed at containing the spread of this pandemic countrywide, appreciating the effort taken by both levels of government in containing the pandemic, this House resolves to establish an ad hoc committee of the Assembly which shall oversight actions and measures taken by the county government of Mandera in addressing the spread of the COVID-19 in the county, and shall address the following among other matters. 1. Provision of testing and medical equipment, including adequate ventilators in Mandera Referral Hospital. 2. Measures taken to ensure continuous supply of food and other essential commodities at affordable price. 3. Measures taken by the county government to enable the continuation of service delivery to the residents of the county. 4. Provision of adequate isolation and intensive care unit facilities in the county referral hospital and each sub-county hospitals. 5. Measures taken to ensure protection, safety, and well-being of healthcare service providers and other frontline workers. 6. To step up measures to sanitize and safeguard the population against global pandemic. 7. To monitor and report to the county assembly on all the activities the county government is implementing, as well as ensure funds set aside for the pandemic is utilized well. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the committee is to oversight the County Emergency Response Committee, and the committee is expected to table progress report within 30 days, and thereafter quarterly reports and subsequently table final report within 6 months. This committee, Mr. Speaker, shall comprise of the following members. 1, Honorable Abbas Abdille. Honorable Abbas Abdille. 2, Honorable Robo Mohammed Hassan. 3, Honorable Arinur Hassan Ali. 4, Honorable Mohammed Ibrahim Yusuf. 5, Honorable Shaban Hassan Hilo. 6, Honorable Kulo Aliyo Guyo. 7, Honorable Alinur Dero Abdullahi. 8, Honorable Shamsa Ibrahim Alim. And 9, Honorable Fatuma Omar Kasai. Mr. Speaker, this House is on recess because of the COVID-19 menace, and it's only that we came back on a special sitting that you called, Mr. Speaker. And since the House is on recess, we will not be getting time or normal running as in our committees to do the oversight role as we used to do. So, and there's a lot of work going on in the county. Funds have been set aside for the COVID-19, and these funds needs to be, Mr. Speaker, oversighted. So, we thought about this committee to represent us as a House, because all of us cannot be doing that work. So this committee is going to represent the House to ensure that the funds and all the work that is going on concerning the coronavirus disease in Mandera County is going on as required, because we are required as leaders to do our oversight role. Mr. Speaker, the members have been complaining that they have no any, means or anywhere else where they meet these people who are responsible over this problem and do their oversight. So we got an opportunity today to form this committee to represent us. And what I want to say is to the committee, as soon as they start doing their work, to ensure that I know they are up to the task, these members, that they do the work on behalf of this House, this Honorable House, and ensure, because right now we have seen so many gaps in the way the COVID-19 response is being done in our county. Members have been talking today, in the morning, and even this afternoon. Expenditures on isolation and quarantine centers, medical supplies, awareness that is being done in our county, because we are at the grassroots and much is being done up there, but at the grassroots level, people are not feeling. Yesterday when we met, the previous day when we met the CC for Finance, and they explained to us some of these measures they are taking and how they are responding to this COVID-19, we told him that the county government is doing a lot. We are getting information through the social media, and but at the grassroots level, the impact is very little. In terms of what? In terms of masks being distributed, sanitizers, and creating awareness, even awareness. In that part, I think the work is not going on as required. And then on the food distribution, because of the effect of this disease, people, the business has slowed down, people have gone back to their homes, and the poor people are suffering a lot. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we want to urge this committee, the ad hoc committee, to ensure that they do the right work and they represent us well. I know they are up to the task, and give us reports, maybe as required. Maybe your office is going to guide us on how they are going to report to the House. Therefore, I beg the Honorable Minority Leader to second me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the formation of ad hoc committee. Mr. Speaker, when Honorable Member representing as Habito, who is a chair for health, was talking about the frontline workers, I was about to cut him short because it is our work to oversight anything that is going on in this county, Mr. Speaker. We are here by the law, we are representative of the county and the people of this county, and we must oversight what is ongoing in this county. Then I think by formation of this committee, definitely the concerns of Honorable Member Representative as Habito will be tackled, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is up to us to make sure that what we just passed here, the third supplementary budget, is used as meant for, Mr. Speaker, because even this assembly has donated 60 million. Donating 60 million is not just is not just a small thing, Mr. Speaker. That is a lot, and we must make sure that the money is used for intended purpose, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very strong team. This is a committee, definitely they will come up with their chair, and we, as leadership of this House, we have seen the need for having ad hoc committee, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we brought the request to you, and we thank you, you have agreed with us. Mr. Speaker, to the committee, I am requesting them to be on top of the task to make sure that thing is not only Mandera town, Mr. Speaker, but rather they must go around to our sub-counties to see what is ongoing, Mr. Speaker. There is a very short, very minimal involvement of people at ward level. They must see how this COVID-19, our people are prepared of, Mr. Speaker. I support and say thank you.
Thank you. I propose the question that this House adopts the formation of ad hoc committee on COVID-19.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Yakub, member representing the Rikale Ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is quite a good move, and the committee comprised of 9 members. Mr. Speaker, maybe what is only worrying is 2 honorable members, Honorable Kulo Guyo and Al Nudero, who are above 58, and we know the issue of presidential directive that they should know if you are above that age and you have a pre-existing condition. I have not said that they have pre-existing condition, but because of the age, they could have confined themselves into the house. But still, no problem, Mr. Speaker, sir. The committee, all of them are tough guys, Mr. Speaker, sir. Most of them are health professionals like Honorable Chair for Health, Shaban, and Honorable Kula, who is also representing Ramo, are health professionals, and I think they can lead the team well. With that, Mr. Speaker, sir, because since 2:30 p.m. we have been talking and talking, and that, and if you look at the mood of the House, the honorable members are tired. Kindly put the question, and we'll go for iftar. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Governor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support the formation of the committee, and I would like to urge the committee not only to focus how was the amount allocated here and the donations we are getting, how it is spent, and just following up the executive how they spent and bringing statement and the companies awarded, but we want them to bring recommendations and report to this House as far as the COVID-19 effects are concerned in this country, Mr. Speaker. Our people are suffering, Mr. Speaker. If you find that, for example, they may bring a recommendation urging the executive to relax some laws even. For example, Finance Act, Mr. Speaker, you will find that we have the Finance Bill we have recommended, we have passed. You know, some of the charges is exorbitant, is very punitive, but because of the business is deteriorating, our kanjos and the other officials of the county are harassing the businessmen
while there is no even business, Mr. Speaker. At the moment, Mr. Speaker, the patrols, the public are suffering. The business, the transport sector is greatly affected. The border, the tuk-tuk, the taxis, drivers, they don't have business. But you will find that the Matiangi boys and the Trobas boys, patrol points are increasing in number daily after daily. Mr. Speaker, this is a COVID-19 effect. If the border tuk-tuk guy is getting 50 and then you have 3-4 patrols in this county. So because of those factors, Mr. Speaker, they should not confine themselves to the amount awarded and how the supplies and the hospitals taken, but they look the wider picture, Mr. Speaker, the effect of this thing, the recommendations, the actions this county assembly can take to assist our community. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dakat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the chance. I'm Honorable Abdulaziz Dakat, member representing Arabia Ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support the formation of this committee simply because I'm a member of the Budget Committee. We invited the CEC of Finance. We have really, when we have asked him questions about this, the utilization of these funds, we have really doubted. So I support the formation of this committee. They should really query and follow up the utilization of these funds, because these are funds of the public. And we want the supplies of the medical supplies to reach up to ward level. So I urge the committee to follow to strictly what is called to strictly follow the utilization of these funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think going on the mood of the House, I call upon the Leader of Majority, and then I will put to question.
I take this opportunity to thank the House for accepting the motion to move an ad hoc committee. I request you to put it to question. Thank you.
Thank you. I think many has been said about the committee. The mandates are clearly written there, but I agree with the majority, the whip, minority whip, that they should not only confine themselves into what is written there. They should look at the bigger picture of the effect of COVID-19, not only in terms of health, but in terms of even social life. He said a very valid point. You remember that His Excellency the President has even relieved some taxes, including the value-added tax and then the income tax to the employees and even to the business. So we should actually apply the same. Why can we not relax our tax collection because of this period? So that's a very valid point, and I think the committee will also should look at that. The issue of hiring hotels. You know, we have a very limited resource, and we don't know how long will this pandemic going to be with us. So I think we should not be in spending spray, just spending somehow and then get stuck. So let's recommend, let's engage them. I think the issue is not only reporting. You can engage the people who are concerned and interact and then discuss some of these things, so that at least we use the government existing facilities. We have national schools in this town, we have national school in Rambo, and we have several secondary schools in all sub-counties. Let's utilize the government facilities which is already there. I put a question that this House agree with the Leader of Majority on the formation of the Committee on COVID-19, as many of these opinions say aye. As many of contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it, and the House stand adjourned to Sindai until further notice.